years, I also found that there was one that had replaced 37, either replaced or lowered pumps of 37 homeowners. So it's not like people haven't done anything, it's that they didn't know who was being affected necessarily. Now there might have been cases where a farmer was approached and the well that was impacted was maybe 3 miles away, and sure, they stepped back and said, well, I don't know if I'm having an impact on that or not, because there hasn't been a good study done. And so there's a shortage of knowledge, and that's just the way it is here. And so there have been 8 farmers, I think, that we met with this last time. And what they've agreed to do is form an association and to pool their resources, as Jason said, to conduct a broader study of the hydrogeology, the aquifers in the region, both on a short-term and on a long-term basis, to look at influences and to look at how to avoid this situation in the future. That doesn't help people currently that are suffering, though. And so what we need to know is who specifically still have issues. And honestly, we're not going to be able to help people who have already put in systems, lowered pumps, those sorts of things. One thing that we did under the former aquifer conflict resolution is it was the burden of the small capacity well owner to show that their pump failure was indeed due to lowering of static water level, the aquifer, as opposed to mechanical failure. So when you had a well pump either lowered or you had your well replaced, the well driller had to sign off and say that indeed this was because of a mechanical failure. That's one thing that the local farmer would like to know as well in addressing some of your concerns. But the main thing is identifying people there who've had issues. If you know anything about the type of well that you have in place, and I know for some people this is difficult because some of these wells were put in the 1950s, 60s. Nobody knows how old they are, nobody knows how deep they are. Only a well driller can ascertain that. But we need names of who are still having issues in the area, because as Jason said, only recently has one farmer heard something from 1 or 2 people, and they just don't know who you are, outside of hearing rumors that this area is having problems or that area is having problems. There have to be specifics to that. So, but with that said, is Christine? Chris was one of the people who replaced a number of wells in his area, and he's worked with his neighbors, I think, proactively, and it's just coming to an understanding of knowing who he might be impacting, and I think that's generally. I'm not sure who. I haven't seen who of the others from our meeting are here, and I guess I would ask you to stand up to put yourselves out there. And so these are some of the folks that have large systems in place and want to do right by the community and do the study because they're interested in potentially expanding irrigation in their areas, but they also don't want to have an impact on the resource. And so they are going to conduct this study and hopefully get some answers so we can move forward in the future, understanding that there's a limited amount of knowledge we have in terms of the older wells out there and potential impacts as well. But somebody was going to talk about, where's the health department?
I have a question. Out of those gentlemen that stood up, how many of them in the area irrigate? Because there's one that does not irrigate, and I talked to him last week. So I'd like to know who in the area of the 4 townships, who irrigate in that area?
They all came to the meeting. They all have irrigation
That's
systems.
not a question, though. I would like to know who came to the meeting, who irrigated in that area.
In which area?
Those people that just say the 4 townships that are affected.
Columbus, Ellington, Elmwood, and what's the other one? Yeah, as far as I know, they all have at least one system in those townships.
That's what I want to know.
Which was was the purpose of the meeting. There was a, oh, you have to.
I'm Brian Newell, I'm the Deputy Director at the Human Development Commission, and we've seen a lot of increase with people coming through our doors with well replacements. We operate the CDBG, which is a Community Development Block Grant Program for the 4 counties that we serve here on Sand Lake, Tuscola, and Lapeer. There is emergency money there to help with wells. That's the good news. The bad news is until January 1st, that money is all committed until new money becomes available. We want you to put in applications so we have things, if there are people that would be eligible for it, and there's specific criteria, income, and other things that you have to have. Kurt Damrow and Steve Vaughn will have some information that they'll pass out in regards to the CDBG program. Another one that we've got that we've seen an influx is called the Program Improvement Program. It's a loan program funded through MISHDA, and it's income-based and lien-based if the loan goes over $7,500. The payback on that is up to 20 years. So you can spread a $7,500 loan to put a new well over 20 years, basically, to pay that back. There are credit criteria, of course, that go with it. And I've got the information here. I'll just kind of highlight a couple of them for you. Depending upon your income, and it's household income, I'll talk about the interest rates. If it's $19,999 or lower, your interest rate is 4%. And I'll skip through. I won't take a lot of time because I know there's a lot more people to talk. But if it goes over up to $65,000, the interest rate is 8%. So these are more loans designed to help people immediately. The processing time once the application is in is 2 weeks. Of course, that's as fast as MISHDA moves. I mean, I say 2 weeks. I don't want to ever be held to that because we don't have total control of it. But that's one of the options that a couple of the options that we have that can hopefully help some things. And again, Steve and Kurt will have the information to hand out.
So I just want to put that out there. Well, they offered that before, some options for some of you. But I guess what I would say is if you're having issues with your well, and I know at least for Chris, in Chris's case, he basically drew a 1 mile perimeter, I think, of influence without knowing what his true influence was, and has been willing to help people within that, and has actually stepped out, I think, a little bit from that. And I think if you feel somebody in particular might be influencing your well, I'd say approach them directly. And there's certainly no guarantees, but I think everybody I talked to was willing to work within the community to try to help people out that they truly felt that they were influencing. So there's a desire to do that, and that's really all that can be offered in the short term, and then looking at the long term, trying to address issues so this doesn't happen in the future. Hopefully this was an exceptional year for drought, and hopefully in the future it's not going to be as extreme, but that's not going to say that it wouldn't happen again, and hopefully we can emulate what happened in Saginaw County, where they were proactive, put some monitoring systems in place, could measure their influences and try to make sure that everybody can use a common resource without being affected. I guess I would ask any of you back there if you have anything to add. I don't want to speak up with you completely. I know you've met since I met with you. So, anyone? I guess, have I reflected your sentiments? And if not, let me know. If not? Okay. So I guess I would ask for any questions, and if you want to direct them. Could you identify yourself, please?
I think I can do that. My name is Steve Vaughn. I'm a Huron County Commissioner. Most of you have seen me at the other 2 meetings. I am also a fabricator by trade. And one thing we have heard tonight that we haven't been able to address is how we're going to provide temporary water to some of these people that are in dire need until we can resolve the situation. I took it upon myself to go ahead and try to address this myself. I've heard some good things. Kurt's been talking to some of these folks. I did build a temporary water system this week. It is actually in the back of my truck out in the parking lot. With this system, we would be able to hopefully get temporary water into your home until a solution can be come up with. I also am on the HDC Board of Directors. That's why I asked Brian Novell to be here tonight to make sure that we had some information for those people who do qualify. Everything takes time. Nothing happens overnight. But if we could find a way to put a few more of these temporary water systems together for people who don't have water in their homes right now, just talking to the well drillers, it's going to take a while to get all these pumps lowered to assess all your individual problems. But this is a way to get temporary water into your homes. And so I've been working with Kurt all week on this. I know he's been talking to some other folks. Hopefully, we will be able to bring a solution to you in the very near future. I have a couple names of people that I've been talking to that are in very dire need that don't have water. We need to get water into them homes so they can flush their toilets, so they can wash their clothes, and live a semi-normal life. I'd also talked to Tim McGuire tonight. He's our sanitarian for here in Tuscola County. And I had him look at the system that I put together. I also talked to Huron County Building and Zoning because I am a Huron County Commissioner. They approved of what I was doing because this is a non-invasive system. It will basically plug into the side of your house, and it will be a garden hose going to your house. No electrical permit, no plumbing permit. The only drawback is, because of the tank we're using, of course this is a brand new tank, it's going to be for non-potable water, which means you're not supposed to drink it. So if you need to take a drink of water, drink it out of a bottle, get yourself some bottled water. But for the folks that can't shower and can't flush your toilets, things like that, this will be a temporary solution. So I'm looking to get with some of these folks out here to talk to them about reproducing some of these. I hope to have one in service once I get everything approved in a day, maybe 2 days. If this works, this is a temporary solution. And I know this is one question that this lady over here has asked about 4 times right today. I have been working on this since day 1. It takes a little bit of time. And the system I have in the back of my truck was paid for 100% out of my pocket. How many Tuscola County Commissioners are there in this audience tonight? Are there any Tuscola County Commissioners in this office, or in this room tonight? That's one thing that bothers me. The reason I am here, because I'm on the HDC board, I represent 5 different counties, and you're all my constituents. I don't care what county you live in. I'm a compassionate person. I've been taking care of people all of my life. I've known Mr. Damrow since the first day of kindergarten. We've worked together for many, many years. And we will get you through this. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take a little bit of time. Please work with us. And we will get this to a resolve one way or another. So that's basically all I have. I do have information up here from HDC for those people who do qualify. If you think you may qualify, go get the information, fill out an application. At least you're beginning the process. And once you get into the process, if you decide to cancel, you can always cancel. But at least you've started something. You're on your way to normalcy again. So thank you for your time, and I am available. And I do have cards available if anybody wants to call me. So I hope to be working with these gentlemen here very soon, and maybe we can help some of you folks out to where your life will become better soon.
Thank you.
Just to clarify a little bit where we're at with Steve, when we talked about the system, is what we did is we basically put a tank, we're putting a tank on a small trailer that would allow you as the homeowner to take that trailer and to go fill up these 250-gallon water tanks. It's a quick connect to your house. It's something you would be responsible for, but you wouldn't own. What we're working on right now is just getting the funding to have about 8 or 10 of these systems available through the Human Development Commission to have them manage a program for emergency assistance in addition to the loan program. People don't have money. Some people have credit that's been hurt because of these tough economic times. We're not going to do a credit check to see if you qualify to use a water tank. All we're going to do is to make sure that you do have a specific need in order to use these systems. And so it's, it'd be something you would be responsible for. When you don't need it anymore, return it to the HDC and we allow it for somebody else to use. The cost of the systems are about $1,500 each, which covers the cost of the tank, the pumps, and the trailer. What's that? 250 gallons.
225.
225? Top it off.
How long does that last?
That lasts the average home about a week.
That's it. Yeah.
If you're conservative, flush the toilet, wash a couple loads of clothes, take showers, it'll feed your water heater, you'll have hot water.
Your family.
I talked to TSC about getting a tank itself, and they stated that it would be a larger one for 1 week.
The reason I did what I did is because of the weight. Water weight to 30 pounds per gallon.
Right.
When you get into a larger tank, the trailers are cost prohibitive. You have to look at.
Well, what I'm saying is that they told me 500 gallons would be a normal week for like a 3-house.
You know, it depends on how many people are in the home, who knows. If you got 8 kids, 250 gallons, 225 gallons not going to last you long. But,
That's why I just didn't know like what the average was.
Right now,
yeah.
10 gallons of water would be a lot better than none.
You got that right.
Right. So I just want to let you know where we're at with this. Anyways, we're working quickly. We've already talked to some of the farmers about trying to get some assistance on this to get these programs in place. I know what you don't want to hear is probably a lot of what we were sharing tonight, but it's important that you understand that the health department, that the state agencies, that there's not a lot that they can do right now. And so if you're calling them up and you're mad at them, if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at your legislators. Because they took the funding out and the legislation that gave them the authority at that time to step in. As far as everything I've seen so far, these agencies, departments, and the county level have done everything they possibly can to help you out. So now we're trying to get this all straightened out. I can say that I've had conversations with the farmers lately. In the last couple of days, we've had very good conversations in working this thing out. We're not looking at a 90-day solution to this. We're looking at an immediate solution for those people who need help. And when I say an immediate, within the next couple of days, we're not dragging our feet on this. And the long-term solution, Senate Bill 1008, I expect to see that through into the House very quickly. One thing that we have discussed is some of you have already put money out ahead of time to take care of wells, and I've already heard from a number of you. So some people think you're now off the map. If it, according to Senate Bill 1008 and some of the amendments that were presented, if it is found out that you, within, say, the last 6 months or last year, we're not going to go back 10 years.
You better go back to 2009, Kurt.
Well, we'll go back to it. I mean, it's going to take some study to find out what we go back to, what the effect was from irrigation. Is that this is not something that we're looking to grandfather in, that it doesn't just start from when the governor signs this bill. I think everybody that was in the committee meeting that I sat in with in the senator's office, and I was the only legislator there, but all the representatives and everybody that was present from the agencies agreed that will be reasonable with what we're going to do. So I know some of you have already incurred that cost. On the other side, we're also going to be reasonable with anybody that was involved with irrigation. With the farmers, we're not looking to clean anybody out, but there has to be some parity. There has to be some fairness to what's going to be taking place. So. From?
Anybody. I would say last week.
Well, you know, we can't look at the, I'll tell you what, we could rehash the past and we could rehash who didn't call who and who didn't leave a note for somebody, but I'm going to tell you where we are.